We're here in San Diego, California with the newest member of Nissan's lineup, the 2018 Nissan Kicks. Nissan tells us that the Kicks shouldn't be thought of as a direct replacement for the Juke, since the Juke will still be sold in some global markets like Canada and Japan. However, for us in the United States, it effectively means that the Juke is dead. Long live the Kicks. While the outgoing Juke was definitely categorized as a compact entry-level SUV, the Kicks is not so easily placed in any single category. It has more in common probably with cars like the Hyundai Kona and the Kia Soul rather than other SUVs like the Toyota CHR or the Honda HR-V. Part of the reason for this is that the Kicks is only offered in front-wheel drive. If you want all-wheel drive, you'll have to go for one of Nissan's other SUVs. While the Juke was known for having very quirky styling, the Kicks is a bit more sedate. And even though we're not sure whether or not we should call it an SUV, it does have a few styling cues that are hallmarks of SUVs, starting with this lower black cladding along the body that makes it look more rugged. Nissan does offer a heavy dose of interior and exterior customization with the Kicks. Now the car that we're looking at here is gunmetallic with a monarch orange roof, and they also offer several other two-tone paint configurations. You'll also have the chance to add accessories to the car, much like this one has orange inserts in the wheels, an orange front lip spoiler, and orange mirror caps. And each of those don't actually cost as much as you might think. The wheel inserts are only about $75. So if you find yourself jealous of all the other kids with their pumped up Kicks, it won't cost you too much to play along. The Kicks excels in two areas that are actually pretty important for shoppers in this segment. The first one will be value, and the second one will be packaging. And by packaging, what we mean is how efficiently the car uses its space. Now, the Kicks is not a large vehicle. It's only about 169 inches long, but the way that it uses that space is really impressive, starting with the cargo area. Now, behind the rear seats, there's 25.3 cubic feet of cargo space, and that's better than most everything else in this segment. The Toyota CHR and the Hyundai Kona, for example, have about 19 cubic feet of cargo space, and both cars are longer than the Kicks. The Kicks back seat also is split 60/40 and folds down for you to store longer cargo, and this cargo cover here is easily removable and you can store it at home if you need to pick up things that are taller. Now the Kicks doesn't just make efficient use of its cargo area, the cabin is also very efficiently used as well. Nissan says that the Kicks actually has best-in-class front legroom and headroom, and the back seat, which is usually an area of weakness for these cars, is actually a strength in the Kicks. I'm about 5'11" and I'm sitting in the back seat and I'm very comfortable. I have enough legroom between me and the front seat, and there's a ton of headroom, which is really appreciated. One of the things that the Kicks does very well is visibility for both front and back seat passengers. The high roofline means that you get a very clear line of sight through the windows, and they're tall all around. So for me, someone who gets car sick, that's something that I really appreciate, and that's being able to see out of the back seat. You also have access to a few amenities. There are two USB charge ports right here in the center console that you can reach easily. There's one thing that I don't like about the Kicks back seat: there are no visible air vents, so you're going to depend on the front seat passengers for climate control. Now the Kicks is a budget-friendly vehicle, but I think that it actually does a pretty good job with materials for its price. There are some hard points, and that's kind of unavoidable on a car at this price. So you have hard plastics along the windows here, and you're missing things like an armrest for the front seat passenger. However, in the SR trim like we're in now, that means you also get a leather-wrapped steering wheel and a leather-wrapped shift knob. And for those who want non-cloth seats, you can pay an extra $1,000 for the premium package, and that includes fake leather upholstery, which was so good that it actually fooled me at the LA Auto Show. I thought it was the real thing. The Kicks does come standard with a 7-inch touchscreen media display. However, if you want Android Auto and Apple CarPlay, you'll have to jump up to the SR or SV trims. And the screen itself is nice. It's actually placed very well, and most people will be able to reach the buttons on either side without much trouble. If there are two small caveats to it, the first one is that it is a fingerprint magnet, so you'll have to carry some kind of cloth to keep it clean, and it's also not quite bright enough. In bright sunlight, it gets washed out, especially if you're wearing sunglasses. The Kicks isn't really designed to have a really great driving experience, and it kind of shows. It's what I would call competent on the road. Under the hood, it has a 1.6 liter four-cylinder engine that's mated to a CVT, and that engine makes 125 horsepower, which is enough to get you going, but not real quickly. The name Kicks strikes me as kind of ironic because when you put your foot on the gas, there's not a lot of kick. This is one of those CVTs where you get that lag from a stop. You don't get that real crisp acceleration when you put your foot down. It does sort of downshift unnaturally, but like right there, it's more noise than fury. Now, if there's one part about the Kicks driving experience that does stand out a little bit, it's actually its competence in corners. The Kicks has a very low curb weight, about between 2,600 and 2,700 pounds. That puts it at about 600 pounds lower than competitors like the Toyota CHR. And while this doesn't really pay off in terms of acceleration, it does make it feel rather nimble. Now, right now we're in the SR model, which Nissan says is the sportiest of the three Kicks variants. And this comes with something that the other two don't have, which is called active ride control. Now that kind of sounds like an adaptive sort of suspension, but it's not. It's actually a kind of a subtle system that uses the brakes as a form of traction control, but instead of just using it to keep the car stable, it can actually detect when you're hitting bumps or other things on the road, and it uses very minute braking not to slow down the car, but to make it stay balanced. And it actually pays dividends. The ride in this car is a highlight for me. I think that it does a good job smoothing out road imperfections, and when you're just cruising, it stays very flat and very composed even at highway speeds. Another highlight for the Kicks is its fuel economy, and that adds to the car's value. Now, Nissan says that the Kicks has the best-in-class fuel economy for any car in this class that isn't a hybrid, and it gets 31 mpg in the city and 36 on the highway. That's good for a 33 combined number, which, again, Nissan says is class-leading. The Kicks also offers good value when it comes to safety features. All grade levels of the Kicks will come standard with automatic forward emergency braking, and that's a feature that we really like to have in cars because it's proven to reduce accidents. If you jump up to the next level SV trim, you're going to get blind spot warnings with rear cross traffic alerts, and if you jump to the SR, you're going to add an around view monitor, which is very helpful in situations like parallel parking. Though the Kicks does offer good value with its safety features, it does still trail competitors like the Toyota CHR. The CHR comes with standard adaptive cruise control and lane keep assist, in addition to automatic forward emergency braking, and those are two features that aren't even offered on the Kicks. However, the Kicks is still, I would say, above much of the class in this regard, and it's worth calling out its value. Now, whenever automakers release a new car, they like to explain who exactly the target audience is. And for Nissan, they say that they're targeting multicultural buyers between the ages of 25 and 35, which is, I guess that's me. And I'm a little bit ashamed to say that I think that they've hit their mark. I really like the Kicks. I think that it delivers excellent value, and the interior packaging is great. It's a small car that can still fit 4 adults comfortably. I'm comfortable in saying that I think that the Kicks will take off for Nissan in a way that the Juke never did, and a big part of that is pricing. The Kicks actually starts at just under $19,000, including destination charges, and we're here with the Kicks SR, the most expensive trim, and it's not even that expensive, $21,265. Compare that to the Juke, which started at just $40 less than that, but had less technology and much less practicality, and it's easy to see why the Kicks is going to have much more mass appeal. Now, those wanting to kick the tires on the Kicks at a dealership won't have to wait long. The car is in dealerships now.